everybody. I have Tom with me today, and we're going to be talking about educating yourself on digital transformation, even if you don't feel like you're a part of this industry. But before we dive into the questions that I have for you, Tom, can you give everybody an introduction?
Yeah, of course. And Emma, it's great to be here with you on this podcast and on this interview, and really looking forward to telling people. So the background to the AI Journal is we founded it in beginning of 2020, so right on beginning of first week of February. And really the idea is just to kind of let people know and build out content, around all the different variations that run under AI. So everything to do with data, cloud, IoT, anything like that, and really have it as a, free resource hub for people that might know everything about it and have 20 plus years in the kind of area, or someone that started it yesterday and is just finding their feet in the area. So want to make it, really easy, digestible. And of course, with what I want to provide people is making sure that they can use it, impact it, and, have it as a tool to use as information.
Great. And what Tom didn't mention, everybody, is that he's the founder of the AI Journal. You
Of
talking
course.
about what you do, but you didn't talk about your role there. But as we were prepping for this interview, you and I were talking about how we both didn't grow up wanting to be in the digital transformation space. We came from other areas, and we realized that this industry is really important. Can you talk a little bit about the thought process behind starting the AI Journal and really how you got the passion for that?
Yeah, sure. So my background, Emma, isn't actually within AI itself. I mean, I worked at an engineering company, and that was a lot to do with automation. So a lot of, big deals that would go into a lot of logistic hubs, and they'd be using a lot of automation solutions. So that's where my kind of interest and excitement for this area really began. And when I was looking at it, I couldn't find much that, kind of delved into, specifics on AI and, have, a broad aspect. So the AI Journal started just as a blog, and, then one thing led to another, and we turned it into open source, because my kind of idea behind that is I'm not the expert. I want people that are reading it to hear the kind of thought leadership and hear the ideas and, get those kind of debate points and what's right, what's wrong, what do we know, what don't we know? How can people use that information and build off it? So it was kind of a very, natural progressive build up to where we are now at the end of 2020. And I mean, we'll touch on it a bit later, Emma, with the kind of roadmap and what we're looking to do, through 2021. And, it's just been really exciting. I mean, connecting with people like yourself and people in the industry. And, every time we speak to them, we want to have it as that kind of open source, free to share, understand, free knowledge hub, and, really promote what value people can get to their companies, how they can add value to the customer. Like you said, some people don't understand AI. Some people, it's a buzzword that's used along with, other buzzwords like machine learning. But what does it actually do? How does it help communicating that message at a face value? So someone that comes in can just think, okay, I know much more about, whether it's VR and AR or something that's within, data being used within a certain sector, such as education or healthcare, or, how NVIDIA's doing things with their gaming chips to create, a better experience. So all those kind of areas, and like I said, I'm not the expert, but I do like the idea of having this kind of knowledge shared with people to, to promote their own kind of either their business profile or their own personal profile, for enabling, better change and making sure people understand it. Because when I look at it, and without rambling on too much, is, the comms and PR side, sometimes I think that's going to be in for a big shift over the next 5 years, because you're getting a real communication challenge. And I mean, I'm just looking at it from a user perspective. It's very hard to see these, I hear AI and I hear, there's 5,000 different definitions of AI, and, how are they going to communicate the key messages is the really important thing. And that's why we want to, build off it and delve that information to people.
And you mentioned this idea of people that are just getting started with learning about it, or people like yourself who maybe are in a role supporting a company that's doing AI. But I feel like there's a lot of kind of convergence between business and technology with the movement of digital transformation. Can you share a little bit on your thoughts about the reason that it's important for people to learn about this technology?
Sure. So I think the big thing, Emma, is when you look at it, there's a lot of funding rounds happening, and there's a lot of, and this is just where I looked at it, and when I spoke to people, when all this money is coming into this kind of new sector and it's growing and growing, and I mean, I see reports from PwC, Deloitte, and companies like them, stating it's going to be worth in the trillions to the economy, like how much it's going to be by 2025, and really delving into that information to see, what value is it going to give? Like, why should someone that, is going out to do their shopping should care about what a fintech is, or what they're doing, or what their value proposition is? Because, fintech's another great example. I speak to my friends, they use Monzo, use Starling, they use these great, providers, and I'm all for fintechs, but they don't actually understand what the background is. Like, they didn't know they were using a fintech. And it's just interesting to see, A, you've got the business intelligence side, and then B, you've got the, side from people that know the technical aspects. But the crossover is really, really important to, make sure the end users can understand it, because the end user ultimately is the person that's going to be spending the money with those businesses. So, it's really important to have that kind of insight and knowledge.
Wonderful. You teased it a little at the beginning, but you mentioned some of the stuff that you guys are doing at AI Journal and how it started as a blog, and even in less than a year, it's blossomed into a lot more than that. And you guys have some really interesting things planned for 2021. Can you share with everybody what you guys are doing today and what types of programs they should look forward to in the future?
Yeah, sure. So obviously, without blowing my trumpet too much, we've got a load of great, resources on the website at the moment. And, it's from reports. So going through 2021, we're going to be, looking at the roadmap ahead through what we want to deliver, and what, like I said, a lot of our content is always free, and we plan to keep it that way. Whether it's the recordings from the events, or attending one of our events, or downloading the reports. But without getting twisted and going from one to one, I mean, the content is the big side to us, really having it as, fresh new ideas. So, new contributors, new people within the space, really looking at it from maybe a business intelligence side, or something that's a real niche. So, someone that might be really specific on deep learning within a certain sector, and, showing, what challenges are, what opportunities. So that'll be a big thing we'll really expand on. And then, we'll support that with the other arms. So the reports, you can already see the ones on the website, which is to do with AI in a post-COVID world, which we touched on earlier, Emma, which looks at, what do people need to change? What do they need to do? How do they need to look at this industry? What's ahead for this industry? And then the next one was on AI in healthcare. And I mean, through 2021, we're going to be looking at things in gaming, within intelligent automation and RPA, which I know is a big sector to you at least, and, the digital transformation side, and, whether it's InsurTech or various other ones, VR, AR, and, supporting that with events. So we will ideally, depending on what happens with COVID, I'm not too sure, but, we'll be looking at going back to physical events and through 2021, at least 2022, 2023, and, bringing the network of people together that might be, a real crossover, because there is, a real problem I see, at least from, the right people mixing with the right communities. And I mean, when you had your talk the other day about, the crossover, especially with an RPA, and, I remember seeing Kieran's naughty list, not communicating the proper, ways of doing things. So someone higher up might think, I don't understand this. So that'll be another thing we build on for our events, reports, and training. So, I mean, training is going to be a big arm for us that we really want to delve into, and, get expert trainers and people that really know their business in that specific area, and have it as, downloadable on-demand content, and, build all of that together. So when we do package it up, so when you're at an event, we can just deliver and drive, so much more value to companies and to customers, and, to people that are just scrolling on our website. So if you come onto our site, you can easily just see those reports, download them, and, you can get some real top tier insights from people, heads of departments at places like Borough Health, FinTech Circle, Insight Enterprises, and, same with thought leadership. You can hear from people at BMW, what they're doing with AI, machine vision, all these cool things. And that's, going to be what we capitalize on through 2021. And obviously looking ahead to 2025, there's a lot more things in the pipeline, but I don't want to get too carried away because obviously, there's always a plan until, like Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. So you've got to look at it like, what can we do and what can we work out? And, value is always going to be at the forefront of, when I'm working with someone, how can we deliver maximum value to have a relationship that's going to help lots of their customers, lots of their team, lots of internal and external processes, over the coming years. So there's a lot of exciting things ahead, and, really excited to have, everyone on board with it and build the community out and keep sharing the knowledge. So
Well, thank you so much, Tom, for joining me. I was really excited to be able to share this with people because
thank you.
I started this series to help educate people on digital transformation, and AI and the stuff that you guys are talking about is a huge part of that. So being
Yeah.
able to point people towards the types of resources that will help them figure out what this landscape looks like is like a dream come true to me. So thank you for joining us and sharing a little bit about AI Journal. And for anybody that's interested in learning a little bit more, be sure to connect with Tom, connect with him to see about opportunities to get engaged with AI Journal, but then also go over and check out all of those free resources. Hopefully, they'll help you again start to piece this industry together and make it really approachable for everybody. Thanks for joining, Tom, and have a great day, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you.